Hello, my name is Sandy Adamitis, the social media director for the Page International Screenwriting Awards, and your host for the Writers Hangout, a podcast that celebrates the many stages of writing, from inspiration to the first draft, revising, getting a project made, and everything in between. We'll talk to the best and the brightest in the entertainment industry and create a space where you can hang out, learn from the pros, and have fun. I'm Sandy Adamitis.
Hi, I'm Terry Sampson.
Oh, Christmas music.
Yeah, this is great. My daughter and I record a Christmas song every year for like 16 years or so. And we even started writing music. This one we wrote together, and we are the Snow Globes.
Oh, that's the name? You're the Snow Globes?
Yeah,
that's the name of your duo?
Yeah. We're the
I
Snow
love
Globes.
that. You know what? Let's play a bit of your music all through December as a gift.
Fabulous. That's
as
what
a
we'll
gift
do.
to our listeners.
Okay, great.
Great.
We'll do that. And speaking of holidays, how was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving venue that I usually go to, my cousin Molly's, who throws the best Thanksgiving.
Oh, great.
She decided not to have it this year.
Uh-oh.
So I went to my friend Susan and Tony's, but Molly had me over for pie because her and her husband do make the best pies on Thanksgiving.
Bless
yeah.
them.
They still made the pies. Didn't have the dinner, but still made the pies. So while we're having pie, she was talking about last week's podcast episode where you and Kathy were doing the quiz for landmarks that begin with G. And she remembered a building she goes by all the time on PCH. And she goes, I vaguely remember there was a murder there. So looked into it. Fabulous Hollywood murder mystery.
Sure enough, someone's dead.
Sure enough, someone's dead. So, Molly, thank you so much for this episode this week. I'm excited about this episode, actually. It's going to be a two-parter. It's just got twists and turns and crazy Hollywood characters and intrigue and this death. Well, you know what? Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Thelma Alice Todd was an actress and a businesswoman. She was beautiful, vivacious, and sexy. Hollywood gave her the nicknames the Ice Cream Blonde and Hot Toddy. She did not like those names. Hot Toddy is kind of cute, though, I think.
It is. That's more sexual than the other one, though. Isn't it? Because of hot?
Yeah, I think hot makes it sexual. But did you get hot toddies while you were growing up?
No.
Do you know what a hot toddy is?
I believe it's an alcoholic beverage warmed with something.
Yeah, I believe, at least this is what I grew up with because I had an Irish mother. Whiskey, sugar, maybe some water heated up. I know when I was very, very young, sometimes if I had a toothache or was really sick, my mom would give me a hot toddy.
Right.
Which my friend Judy thinks is child abuse, by the way. She cannot believe.
I was leaning in that direction, but you brought it up and got me out of the hole.
You know, maybe she took whiskey and put it on my gums, and I think I had a complete hot toddy.
Right.
That's how I remember it. Thelma was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts on July 29th, 1906. Thelma trained to become a school teacher and did some modeling. In 1925, Thelma won the title of Miss Massachusetts, and Paramount Pictures signed her to a one-year contract. That is amazing to me. I guess back in the day that did happen. You could be a beauty contestant and just given a contract.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
How did they know she could act?
She did have to go to a school for a year beforehand.
An entire year?
Yes, I believe it was an entire year, and they would teach you elocution and acting and dancing. And I believe the Lasky players who turned into Paramount started that school.
Wow, that just sounds like fun for a year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Except for the dancing.
Yes, except for the dancing. Oh, which makes me think of Fame and Irene Cara.
Oh, no
we
kidding. I
lost.
know.
That's sad. She was young.
Yeah.
Thelma made a name for herself as a talented comedic actress and for elevating the typical dumb blonde roles in films. Between 1926 and 1935, she appeared in 120 feature films and shorts. She's remembered for her comedic roles opposite Zazu Pitts. Her films included Marx Brothers' Monkey Business and Horse Feathers. She co-starred with Buster Keaton and Jimmy Durante in Speak Easily. She was working with Laurel Hardy on The Bohemian Girl, but her part had to be cut short because of her sudden death in 1935 at the age of 29 on December 16th in Los Angeles. So the anniversary of her death is right around the corner. In 1932, Thelma married agent Pat DiCicco. Born Pasquale DiCicco, Pat was the son of the Broccoli King.
What country is that?
He was the Broccoli King, which makes me think of, what was it in John Hughes' film, Ferris Bueller? Was it the Sausage King? Wasn't he the Sausage King, his friend? Pretending to be the Sausage King. He was the son of the Broccoli King, a Long Island truck farmer who pioneered the planting and marketing of broccoli on a large scale in the United States.
Oh, that guy made it happen.
Very impressive. I love broccoli, by the way. Do you like broccoli?
It's a great source of iron.
Love broccoli. Pat went to Los Angeles, he said, to make his own money. It wasn't a happy marriage. When Thelma filed for divorce from Pat in 1934, she cited the reason as grievous mental and physical suffering. Side note, DiCicco married Gloria Vanderbilt later on, mother to Anderson Cooper. And I guess in her book...
Is that Anderson Cooper's
Gloria
dad?
Vanderbilt. Gloria? No, I don't think it's his father.
Just
no.
one of her marriages.
One of her marriages,
Okay.
yeah. And she would later record that, or affirm that Pat was abusive in her book. I haven't read her book, but I read and researched that she did report that he was a violent man.
He never got over being Broccoli King. That's what I'm thinking.
His dad was the...
He never got over not being the Broccoli
King. Exactly. He tried zucchini.
He went through all the vegetables.
Didn't work.
No kingdom.
No kingdom. Thelma grew tired of fighting against the typical Hollywood casting couch situations, and while she kept her hand in acting, in 1934, she opened a restaurant called Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe on the Pacific Coast Highway, a.k.a. the PCH, Route 1, but back then it was called the Roosevelt Highway.
Really?
Route 60, yeah.
Huh.
Thelma's business partner in the cafe was screenwriter, director, and producer Roland West, whom Thelma was rumored to be involved with. It was said that their affair was as much as it was on as it was off. Ron was married to silent film actress Jewel Carmen. Great name. But at the time of Thelma's death, West and Carmen did not live together. West was born on February 20th, 1885. That sounds so long ago, in Cleveland, Ohio. He began acting in vaudeville, and by the early 20s, he became a screenwriter and director in Hollywood. Todd's reputation as a fun-loving party girl who was extremely popular in the LA social circuit helped propel the restaurant's success. Her signature drink was 3 Fingers of Rye.
Wow.
Ironically, that's what my mother would put in
That's what you used
the
to
hot
have.
toddy. 3 fingers. Okay.
And a thumb. That's what I heard.
Thelma lived in an apartment above the cafe, as did West, with only a single drawing room separating them. This was a huge property that went up the hill where a garage was located and where Thelma was found dead by her maid, May Whitehead, slumped over the wheel of her 1932 Lincoln Phantom on Monday, December 16th, 1935. She lay on her left side behind the steering wheel, a mink coat about her shoulders, her head drooping over the edge of the seat.
Ooh.
What happened to Thelma? We're going to go back to the Saturday. She was found on Monday. We're going to go back to the Saturday, December 14th. Thelma had spent most of Saturday shopping for Christmas with her mom, Alice. I have a sister named Alice.
Oh, nice.
And my grandmother's name was Alice.
Wow.
At I. Magnum's on Hollywood Boulevard. Now, that struck me as odd because Hollywood Boulevard is a long way from Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe.
Yes.
I looked it up, 28 miles.
Yeah.
Well, almost 29 miles. And there wasn't a 405 or 101 to get you there quickly. Then it wasn't so strange because I found out that Thelma had a dentist appointment that day. So the dentist was right next to where she was shopping at I. Magnum's. So that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now, the reports were conflicting at what happened when she went to the dentist, that she had a tooth pulled. Others say that she just had a temporary put on a crown. Whatever it is, it sounds like she had some extensive dental work that afternoon. Mm-hmm. Thelma picked up some handkerchiefs at I. Magnum's, which is so appropriate for 1935, isn't it? Handkerchiefs.
Yeah, those things are...
They were popular.
Yeah, they were a thing.
They were a thing.
If you want a quick side here, I have my dad's... He passed away in 1985, so I've hung on to his handkerchiefs, and I gave it to my about-to-be son-in-law and said, if Madeline cries, this is the handkerchief you need to use.
Oh,
that's a throwback. Isn't that lovely?
That is really sweet.
Yeah. She cried too. You know, girls at the weddings.
Yeah. Okay. Then the two women went to Barker Brothers in downtown Los Angeles. Again, they're going east.
Yeah.
She lives way west. They're going east. Thelma purchased bookends, a cigarette box, a relish tray, and a clock. All makes sense to me. 1935.
She had a list.
Yep. On the way home, they stopped for gas at the Muller Brothers service station on Sunset Boulevard, where Thelma got 10 gallons of gas and a quart of oil. It was late afternoon by the time she and her mom returned to the Sidewalk Cafe and to her apartment above the cafe. Thelma and her mom talked as Thelma dressed for a party she was going to at the Trocadero. Have you ever heard of the Trocadero?
Nope.
Famous restaurant. She was to be the guest of honor at a party thrown by Mr. and Mrs. Stanley Lupino and their actress daughter, Ida. Thelma dressed in a metallic blue sequined evening gown and a matching cape, blue silk slippers, a fur coat, and about $20,000 worth of jewelry.
Ooh.
Wow.
Styling.
When May Whitehead, her maid, found her 2 days later, she was wearing the same outfit.
All right. I'm probably going to ruin something here, though. Mm-hmm. Was the jewelry on her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Going back to Cafe Trocadero, it was an upscale nightclub that opened on the Sunset Strip in 1934 and immediately became the place where Hollywood stars were to be seen. Photographs of the stars out on the town at the Troc, as it was called, one night might appear in the Hollywood Reporter the next day, as both the Cafe Trocadero and the Hollywood Reporter were owned by the same person.
Boy,
William Wilkerson.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Of course.
Just cross promotion.
Come on.
Money just flowing. The Troc was a black-tied, French-inspired supper club at 8610 Sunset Boulevard in the Sunset Plaza section of the Strip. It was one of the most famous nightclubs in the world. Of course, it's no longer there. But I can imagine, you know how when you go up La Cienega from Sunset, that view, I think the Troc faced out towards that south. Yeah.
On top of the hill or where?
On top of the hill.
Oh, that
must have been gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thelma and her mom left the cafe around 8 p.m. and were driven in a limo by Thelma's chauffeur, Ernest Peters. Drive, the women chatted and talked about Christmas plans. While driving on Wilshire, Thelma asked Peters to stop at a florist shop and handed him $1 to buy a pink camellia, which she pinned to the left shoulder of her dress with a brooch. Again, it was 1935, and women wore brooches and flowers in their brooches.
Yeah.
As they continued, Thelma debated whether to go straight to the Troc or see her mother to her apartment a few blocks away. But when they reached the Troc, Thelma asked the doorman whether the guests of the Lupina party had arrived. The doorman said yes, and Thelma decided to just go in the club, and she sent Peters ahead with her mom to just drive her mom. I never knew this, but in my research, I came across this fact that the Sunset Strip was, I don't know if it still is, located on the county strip that was not hampered by Los Angeles blue laws, which prohibited dancing after 2 a.m. on every day except Sunday, when it was banned altogether.
Dancing, though.
Dancing, yeah. I thought it was going to be alcohol or something like that. But so that makes sense. Like, why is Sunset called a strip and not a boulevard, an avenue, a street? It never... it's so iconic, the name, to me. I heard it my entire life that I just never thought about it. But I guess it was a strip of land that was kind of... what would you call it? Wild territory or no man's land?
Well, they're dancing right up to 2 a.m. That's pretty wild.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's so funny that that's what they picked to rein in the crazies.
The crazy dancing. And now, as everyone knows, the Sunset Strip is filled with restaurants and bars. And I would say the dancing clubs are long gone.
I think they are.
Yeah. My friends and I would go up on Sunset in the clubs. Then it got very exclusive. People started checking dress code and all that. And we were just
I'm sure there's the who are you problem that goes with that. You got to be somebody to get into those venues now, or that, whenever that was.
Yeah, I think it fluctuates, Sunset. I mean, during the 60s, it was coffee houses and places like that. And then I would say...
live bands, not the same kind of...
Sunset Strip. If you ever, early 90s, went up to Sunset Strip at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when the clubs let out.
A lot of people.
I mean, Guns N' Roses just walking in front of your car.
Sure.
It was just, and just black leather.
Yeah.
All over the place.
I once performed in Hollywood. It was a special night in which there was a song that Mike Himmelstein and I had written, and they asked us to sing it at this club. So we did it, and then we drove home late. Mm-hmm. And so I never do that. I never drove home late.
Right.
I'm always home at 10:15, ready to go to bed, you know. So I'm driving, and I get to Sunset at...
Doheny?
No, it's farther down a little bit, like La Brea.
Oh, you're talking east. Okay.
Yeah, but we're just going home. So we're driving that. There was a guy completely naked in every way standing on the corner, and I went, is this why we don't stay out? My wife said, yeah, this is exactly why we don't stay out. And, you know, that's the Sunset Strip.
Yeah, absolutely. I had such a terrible experience once. Caught at a light where up in that area where a man, I was just Hollywood Boulevard, it might have been actually, where I was just caught at a light. And this guy just came up to my car and pressed his pelvis into the driver's side window and just kept grinding. And it was a red light. And it's horrible. Welcome to Hollywood. Okay.
Apparently, he thought your car was very sexy. Were you driving the Lamborghini back then? No.
I think it was a Mazda 323 stick shift. You know, it was no dignity at any moment in that time. Just stay home. Don't go out late. Okay. The party guests and Thelma remained in the bar until a little after 10. When all 20 guests arrived, they walked upstairs to dinner, which was held in the elegant main dining room. It was decorated with cream-colored walls embellished by gold traces in the molding, with silk-covered tables and chairs surrounded by a cozy dance floor. Sounds lovely.
Perfect.
Yeah. There, the party enjoyed a 5-course dinner. I tried to find out what was served, couldn't find it. I would love to know what they ate. And Thelma was placed at the head of the table, an empty chair to her right. That will come into play later.
Okay.
According to the guests at the party and the other diners at the restaurant, Thelma was in her usual great mood most of the evening. She danced several times with Stanley Lupino, who was trying to get her to star in his next movie. No one could have been in better spirits or more brilliant and sparkling than Thelma, Lupino recalled. Thelma's ex, Pat DiCicco, also happened to be at the Troc that night with a date. Guests said that they saw Thelma and Pat exchange words when Thelma and Stanley Lupino danced by their table. Other witnesses said they spoke, but it looked like a pleasant exchange. Already conflicting reports.
Okay.
Sid Grauman also stopped at the Trocadero with a friend of his for dinner. He said Thelma was the life of the party. There was nothing in her manner to indicate that anything was worrying her. Sid Grauman, of course, created two of Hollywood's most recognizable landmarks. The Chinese Theater,
Of course.
with the handprints,
Yeah.
which is no longer called the Chinese Theater. It might be called the AMC or something like that now.
Multiplex now, I think.
But footprints
Remain.
and handprints remain. It's a beautiful theater.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable, though, because those seats have not changed since 1935.
They haven't even been serviced.
No, they haven't. It's kind of
I believe I stepped on something that maybe somebody in the 30s probably left.
Lauren Bacall.
Yeah. I ruined her glasses. I feel horrible.
When Thelma was leaving Sid's table, she asked him to call the cafe to let West know that she was on her way home. Thelma didn't leave right away and had one last dance with her friend, the dance instructor, Arthur Prince, who said her mood changed after she left Grauman's table. In the middle of a tango, Thelma told Prince that she was tired and wanted to go home. Prince said Thelma suddenly turned deeply despondent. She was totally different. All her gaiety had evaporated. She seemed terribly depressed. Everybody spoke better in 1935.
Yeah, and usually the tango doesn't cause that.
No.
Usually it's a happy time.
It's a happy time, yes. Prince's wife went with Thelma to the coat check room, where Thelma started to badmouth the motion picture industry. Don't let Hollywood change you.
Get on board.
Stay just the same. Don't take any stock in what people tell you. Go your own way. Hollywood is full of unhappiness. Don't let it get you.
Wow, where was she when I moved out here?
I know. We need that on a pamphlet at the bus station.
That should be a T-shirt.
Yes. Peters was waiting outside in his limousine. He had been there since a little before 9. After taking Thelma's mother to her apartment, Peters expected Thelma to leave the party before 2 a.m. since she had mentioned an appointment at the cafe at 1:55 that morning. It was now 3 a.m. Look, she's 29 and she's young, but she had to get up early to go to Hollywood. She possibly had a tooth extracted. Went back to Pacific Palisades, got dressed, went back to Hollywood.
Put the party hat on.
It's 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. And her dentist can't be happy with that.
His dentist probably said, go home.
Go home and get some sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is wild to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Peters would testify later that Thelma seemed cold sober. However, he also detected something odd in her mood. She was very quiet, which was strange for her. On other evenings, she liked me to run back the window between us and would chat on the way up the coast. But she didn't say anything much this time. I wouldn't call her glum, but I'd say she had something on her mind. On Thelma's instructions, he drove fast to the cafe, exceeding 70 miles an hour for a time and running the boulevard stops. When they got to the cafe, Peter started to get out of the limo because he would usually walk Thelma up to the door of her apartment. However, on this evening, she declined his offer and headed upstairs alone for the very last time. That's the end of part 1 of the Thelma Todd story. Are you intrigued, Terry?
I gotta know.
Do you have any theories so far?
Well, we know something happened at the club that changed everything. Mm-hmm. And we know who the characters are and in the club.
Mm-hmm.
So I have...
There's the ex-husband.
Yep.
The businessman.
Right.
Who turned her mood.
Right.
The empty seat next to her at the table.
What's that all about?
What's that all about? Okay, so I hope you join us. You join Terry and I for next week when we tell you the conclusion of what happened to Thelma Todd. That's a wrap for the Writers Hangout. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, like, and thrive. Till we get to hang out again, keep writing. The world needs your stories. The Writers Hangout is sponsored by the Page International Screenwriting Awards. Executive producer, Kristen O'Verne. Producers, Terry Sampson and Sandy Adamitis. Music by Ethan Stoller.